Good morning, everyone. My name is Kyle Escamilla, and I am the training coordinator for AVEVA Select California. I'd like to thank you for attending our Learn in 30 webinar today, focused on how to manage your InTouch application. After the webinar this morning, we'll be doing a short Q&A, so please type any questions or comments into the Q&A box or the chat box, and we'll get to them at the end. Now, I'd like to introduce your presenter for today's webinar, Elkansa Kousa. Elkansa is a product specialist here at AVEVA Select California. Good morning, Elkansa.
Hi, good morning, Kyle. Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Please let me know when you can see my screen. I'm showing the PowerPoint presentation.
There we go. It's up.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us for today's webinar. We're going to be discussing converting a standalone InTouch application to a managed InTouch application. I see some names from the workshop yesterday, so this is great. Thank you guys for joining again. All right, so what we're gonna do today in the webinar is, it should be a quick webinar. We're gonna talk a little bit about InTouch, what's new in InTouch 2023 and InTouch 2023 R2. And now we're actually on the 2023 R2 SP1. So some of the new features, and then we're also going to talk or discuss the differences between a standalone InTouch application and a managed InTouch application. For those of you guys who are maybe not very familiar with InTouch, we're talking about standalone InTouch HMI. We're not talking about the InTouch for System platform. So just, to kind of, make it clear at the beginning. And let's get started. And then once we're done with the discussing the differences between the standalone and the managed apps, we're gonna talk, or we're gonna show how to do the conversion. We're just gonna go through the steps. I have a very small application. Actually, I'm gonna use the one that we worked on yesterday in the workshop, and I'm gonna convert it from a standalone into a managed InTouch. And then we're gonna open the floor for questions. So if you think of any questions at any point during the webinar, please feel free to put them in the chat so you don't forget them. And we can discuss them towards the end. All right. Hold on. There you go. So what's new in the 2023 and 2023 R2? Well, we have few differences or few updates in the 2023 release that came out, I believe, a year and a half ago. The first thing is the modern UI UX, or the improved UI UX. Now we have a backstage. Everything is still there. It's just maybe in a different location. We have most of our licenses now, or most of the InTouch licenses now, are unlimited InTouch tags. There's also free development now, 2023 and after. Window Maker is actually free, so you don't have to purchase a development license anymore. The development is usually included or bundled with other licenses, so you don't necessarily need to purchase a dev license anymore. It's free development. There's also the two major, I guess, features that came out in the 2023 R2 are the user-defined types, UDTs. Now, instead of super tags, or we used to have super tags in the past, I think they're not available anymore in the newer versions. So now there's the user-defined types, the UDTs. You can create UDTs, and you can also import UDTs. The other thing is the OPC browsing, and I think the roadmap includes more improvements for the OPC browsing. At the moment, you can browse OPC points and you can import them directly into your window maker without having to sit there and create all of those tags or all of those points. There are other improvements also, or new features also, including the workspaces feature, which is part of the web client. There are more web client enhancements. We have few videos and few webinars and few workshops recorded and posted on our YouTube channel. So if you guys are interested to know more about the newer or the new InTouch versions, please feel free to check our YouTube channel. And if you'd like a demo or would like to discuss any upgrade plans, please reach out to your account manager and we will be glad to talk to you about your options. All right, so this is just an overview about InTouch and what's new in the InTouch 2023 and 2023 R2. The next thing we want to discuss here, and the topic of this webinar is the managed versus standalone. All right, so we have this nice table here. I try to kind of point out main tasks or main functions, as you can see on the left side there, and then put a comparison between standalone and managed. So the first thing is the main use. I mean, standalone is tag-based. You can use industrial graphics. You can use industrial graphics in InTouch or System Platform or Edge or pretty much anywhere now in AVEVA, even for AVEVA Edge. But the difference that you see there where it's saying object-based, we're talking about the entire application. InTouch is still tag-based. So within InTouch, the database for InTouch is still tag-based. You're still working with the same tags, with the same database, even if it's a managed InTouch app, but the whole app is now object-based, right? And that's because you're going to be using the IDE to deploy those objects, to create those objects and deploy those objects. So when we're talking about creating a new view app, and we're going to see that in the demo, we're talking about creating an object. You're creating 10 view apps, you're deploying those view apps, those are 10 objects, right? So the entire application is an object where we view the entire application as an object. But within the same InTouch application, you're still talking about tag-based, right? Creating an application, you can create an application using the application manager. If you're working on a standalone application, as normal, you would open the application manager, you create a new app, you could delete older apps, you could edit the properties of your existing apps. For a managed application, you can do that through the IDE. So you go to the IDE, and we're going to look at that also during the demo. You could create a new application from the IDE itself once you've created the InTouch-based Galaxy. Editing an application is still through Window Maker. Once you are in Window Maker, you don't even need to care or know whether it's a managed or a standalone application, because in Window Maker, everything is still the same. You're still creating the windows, the graphics, you're still creating the tags, importing the database, creating alarms, scripting, everything is still happening inside of the Window Maker. So regardless to whether you triggered the Window Maker from the IDE in the managed case, or from the application manager in the standalone case, you're still working inside of Window Maker. Deleting an application, again, you can delete it from the application manager in case of the standalone app, and you have to also delete the folder. In case of the managed app, you could delete it from the IDE. You just delete the InTouch view app. You don't even need to delete the entire Galaxy. Publishing an application from a window maker for the standalone, right? So when you're done with all the changes, you want to save the changes. Those are pushed to your runtimes basically, or published to the runtime nodes. Versus for the managed, you can also do that, but you're going to do it from the IDE, right? You could deploy the view app. Creating industrial graphics is available and possible in both. The same libraries are available in both, either or. Again, we're still working from the same window maker, so there's no difference at all in terms of industrial graphics. Using industrial graphics, again, adding, editing, or viewing, it's all going to happen in the window maker. It's just that how do you trigger the window maker and how do you open it? That's it. And I guess that's it for application object support. Standalone doesn't offer that, versus the managed application. It offers that, or it enables that basically. All right, so this is just a very high-level overview. The differences, the other benefits are, for example, security. So it's easier to set or configure security when you're working on a managed InTouch application because you could even use Galaxy Security, and you could do that from the IDE. It's easier to create roles and users from the IDE versus from Window Maker as a standalone InTouch application. And once you've converted an app to a managed app, you can then implement the Galaxy security or even the Active Directory security with no limitation from the IDE. The other thing is, or the other big benefit is making changes. So when you're making change to an InTouch app, and you want to push those changes to your nodes, it is easier to do that from the IDE. It's one centralized location. You do the deployment once and you push the changes to all of your nodes at once, and it's obviously real time. So these are some benefits from for the managed InTouch apps versus the standalone apps. I'm gonna stop sharing just for 1 second, and I'm gonna bring up my VM so I go through the demo for you guys. All right. Kyle, if you could just let me know if you can see my screen again.
Not yet.
All right. How about now?
There we go. We were looking at the SkyTap desktop.
Yes, perfect. All right. So what I have here is we actually had a workshop yesterday, an InTouch and an InTouch web client workshop. And I'm gonna use the application that I created yesterday to convert it to a managed InTouch app now. So the first thing that I want to do is I just want to show you. So this is the application manager. I'll pull this one here just to make it clearer. So I'm gonna open the application manager and we're gonna look at the application that I created yesterday. So now, as you could see, I have the 3 apps that are available on my node here. I have the 2 introductory demos that come with InTouch, with the InTouch software. I'm using the application manager, so I'm going to show you the standalone application that I created yesterday, which is this one, InTouch_WS25. I'm going to open Window Maker just to go through, what I have there in this app. It's a very small app, just, a few tags here and there and few graphics, few windows. I don't even have any scripting or any, alarm configuration done. But I do want to show you the backstage and the configuration that I've done for a historization, for example, or for like for a menu customization. And then once we convert the app, we're gonna go and check if any of these things have changed. Nothing should change. Everything should still be the same. So these are the windows that I have in here, the graphics, everything. It's a very simple demo here, but I have a list of tags here, as you could see. I have a database I have points for 4 different mixers 100 to 400. I have 124 tags in there. I also have some graphic tool sets here. I have some industrial graphics. I have some windows here to the left side. And in terms of configuration, I'm going to go to the backstage here. So I'm going to click on File, and I'm going to go to, let's say, historical logging, right? Just to show you guys what I've configured there. So I have enabled historical logging into LGH files. I've also enabled historical logging or enabled storage into historian. This is going to the AVEVA historian. I'm not going to change anything. Just wanted to show you what's checked. By default, these boxes are not checked, right? So by default, these are unchecked. No historization is enabled by default. So this is how my standalone application looks like. I'm gonna close the window maker and I'm gonna move to system platform IDE now. And I have the 2023 R2 SP1 version installed on this node right here. I believe there is a P1 release after this, but the P01 and the P01, P02, and so on are all security and hot fixes. They're not really features. So in terms of the latest and greatest, we have the latest thing here. So what you want to do is you want to create an InTouch base Galaxy here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this one, anything demo app or something, or webinar app. And I'm just going to click on create. It's going to take a minute there to create this Galaxy for us from the InTouch template or the InTouch base template. So once this is created, we'll notice that it does look different for those of you guys who are familiar with system platform and application server. This Galaxy is going to look a little bit different than a normal default Galaxy or a blank Galaxy in terms of the templates that it contains. So it's not going to have things like app engines or like user-defined templates. It's only going to include the view engines and the InTouch View app. And it's also going to include a platform. And we're going to use the View app or the InTouch View app to create a derived app. And this is where you're prompted with a window asking if you want to just import an existing standalone app or if you want to create a new InTouch app. All right, so we have successfully created the Galaxy, and I'm just going to click on close. It should prompt it. It will connect to the Galaxy that we call demo app. All right. So I'm just gonna, as you can see, I mean, it's a normal ID here, right? But if you click on derivation, it does contain less elements, as I mentioned earlier. So it wouldn't have things like app engines, for example. So what we want to do is we want to right click on the InTouch View app here and say create a derived template. I'm just going to leave it as it is InTouch View app underscore 001. You see there is an error icon here. And by the way, this is also these icons here that you're seeing on the right side. These are new for the 2023 R2 release, right? So this is how you indicate if a specific object, for example, has an error, warning, or if it's not deployed. So what I want to do here is right click on it just to see what the error is about, and it's complaining about not having or not hosting an application. So to make it happy, we're going to double click on it. It's going to prompt me with this window that I mentioned earlier, which is, hey, do you want to create a new application? And this is a managed application, or do you want to import an existing InTouch application? One thing to note here is if you're creating a new application, we're working on, for example, we're working on a 2023 R2 SP1 version. So if you create a new application, that's the version that the application is going to be, obviously, right? If you're importing an existing InTouch application, let's say you're working on, you have a 2020 or 2020 R2 application, let's say, and you do want to convert a standalone application and you want to convert it into a managed application, you want to make sure it's on the same version as your IDE. So let's say I have the 2023 R2 here and I have an older InTouch application. What you want to do is you want to pump it up, so upgrade it to 2023 R2 and then make it a managed or convert it into a managed application. So what I want to do here is I'm going to click on import an existing InTouch application, and I'm going to click on next. And going to look or click on the ellipses here and look for my application. You want to know where your application folder is. So in my case, it's on this PC, and then C, and then training, and then this is the application that I showed you, which is InTouch_WS25. I'm just going to click on the main folder or the root folder for that app, and I'm just going to click on OK, and then I'm going to click on next. I'm going to leave everything else as it is. You can change the screen resolution or aspect ratio. You could also change the name here if you don't want to get confused. You add an M here for managed. You could add a description, and I'm going to click on next. Just going to give it a minute here. All right, so now it's saying that the import operation is completed. You do want to check the logger if you notice any problems there, if something is not coming up. If the graphics are not imported, you might see like a graphic, for example, that gets corrupted or something. One way to fix that is to go back to your standalone application, which you still have, right? It's not like you deleted it. Your standalone application is still there. You can always go back and edit it. You can always just, disregard this entire managed application if things don't go well. You could delete it and redo the conversion again. So as you could see here, once I imported the application in my IDE, the view app here. Let me go back. All right, so we double clicked here, we imported an application into this view app here, and it automatically opened or triggered Window Maker, right? So I have Window Maker opened here. These are all of my windows. And if I go back, if I hit back here, I want to check things. Are my tags still here? Is my database still here? These are the tags. I still have 124 tags. And if I want to check things like, are my configurations still the same? Is my configuration for example, historical logging still the same? Yes, I still have these checkboxes enabled. Everything should still remain the same. Windows, graphics, alarms, database, any configuration, scripting, everything should still remain the same, including things like, configuration, like, for example, like if you're configuring window viewer and you enable tag viewer, which was not enabled by default, by the way, for those of you familiar with InTouch, this is not enabled by default. You have to go here to the configuration and enable it. And because we did that in the standalone application, it didn't change. Once we brought it to the IDE, made it a managed application, it still remains the same. So you're not losing anything by converting the app, your standalone app, to a managed app. You're only gaining easier security, easier deployment, and if you want to push changes to different nodes, it's much easier to kind of manage. That's where the name came from, right? It's a managed InTouch application. It's much easier to manage it from the IDE. Another very important note, this is a question that I get all the time. Do we need to purchase extra licensing, or do we need to purchase IDE or like system platform licensing to be able to convert our apps? And the answer is no, you do not need to purchase any extra licenses to convert your application, because you're not really using system platform. System platform is licensed based on app engines, for example, and supervisory servers. Supervisory clients, you're not going to utilize any of that. So you're not going to be charged for a system platform license. You'll only be given, actually the IDE, it could be installed from the same installer as InTouch. So all you need to do is just to install the IDE. and create an InTouch-based Galaxy, and no extra licenses is required for that. This is a very important point. So I think that's it. This is the end of the demo. This is the application, the window maker, as you could see. Once you're in the window maker, and you don't even know if this is a managed InTouch application or a standalone anymore, right? You're making the changes here. You're changing, graphics, building graphics, changing database, configuring alarms, or scripting. Doesn't even matter if this is a managed application or not at this point here when you're doing the development.